Hello everyone, welcome to the EA Global Summit 2020. This is Madhav from the organizing team. Just to share with you guys, we have over 1,000 participants learning a lot from the interesting sessions going on, and we have even started a sophisticated collaboration platform where participants and speakers are discussing a lot more than what's being discussed, and also including in detail what is being discussed in the sessions. So I have pasted the link to the Microsoft Teams channel, and you can feel free to join and ask questions to GU during or after the sessions. And just to be clear, we'll take up the questions at the end, and we'll try to take up as much as possible, but no problem, we have the Teams channel. You can anytime discuss with GU. And we have here GU from Sparx Services North America, and he'll be presenting on the topic using Sparx to rationalize your IT portfolio, application portfolio management use case involving Sparx Prolaborate. And over to you, GU.
Thank you so much. I'm sharing my screen, or at least I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Can you see the correct one? It's the big one? Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining this session in which we're going to cover our application portfolio management accelerator and our approach to application portfolio management. The intention is to allow your leaders to model, execute, and govern application portfolio strategies while keeping the remaining part of the business connected. So in this session, we are going very shortly over some slideware, and then we will jump into a live demonstration of the system. So I hope it's going to be interesting. We have collected also some data. So let's start with the data. Let's define what is the situation today. So today, most of the budget of IT is spent on operation and maintenance, and most of the CIOs believe that they don't have adequately found to support the business. Okay, that is interesting. What is going on? There are some questions that probably keep you awake at night. You can be in a management position, or you can be in a architectural position, but still it's important. How can I save money from my IT budget? How can I reduce the risk and align with the business? How I have visibility in my application portfolio, and how much I'm really spending in application that I have little business value, and how much can I spend in innovation after the cost of maintaining my current portfolio. Maybe those questions are for you, or maybe those questions are questions that are asked by your boss. And for sure, we know that 53% of all the CIOs are looking for a more nimble platform following Harvey Nash, and 49% of CIOs look for a way to work with a restricted budget. But it's not that, the budget is really restricted because the money is missing. What is missing is a better allocation of the money. With all that in mind, let me introduce myself and the company I work for. So I am Gio Platania. I am a principal enterprise architect of Sparx Services North America, and we are a team of passionate practitioners. So we like more than simply sell you a tool. We want to help you out by identify your application portfolio landscape, reduce the cost of maintenance, pre-budget for innovation. So what we offer is more than a simple tool. We offer a solution, and we offer our experiences in finding that solution that very often is unique for your own needs. So let's continue with some data. So less than 1% of the budget spent on IT is spent in architectural tools. That is kind of scary. And 70% of CIOs would prefer to allocate more budget toward innovation. So 70% is a huge, huge number. So and that means that they feel that most of the budget is spent in things that are really not bringing the company toward a innovative pattern. So But even if you spend money on IT and on IT tool, what is the challenge? The challenge is that the service backbone is broken. So what you're looking at is a representation of IT for IT value stream. And you see how different repositories are existing probably, but they are not connected. So you have repository for EA, you have other repository for UML solutions, you have other repository that represent a catalog of services, and we have other repository representing a CMDB solution. And those are maybe couple in the mind of the people, but for sure, very often a logical connection is not a physical connection, and you have different platforms that are not communicating with each other. And so 50% of all the enterprises are increasing the IT budget, but still 52% of CIO lack of the fund to adequately support the business. So that is the type of problem that we are trying to address here. So the money is there, but it's never enough, and we should find a way to address that. And the service backbone is broken because different solutions are not communicating with each other. So what is our approach to that? We call it architecture in a box. Architecture in a box is trying to address holistically what we call design management. That is the capability of an enterprise to cover the complete value streams. And to cover the complete value stream, you need to start with understanding what are the type of concept that you are manipulating, and that will be the taxonomy. In which sequence you are addressing the creation and maintenance of those concepts, that is the methodology. Which kind of skill set is required so that people can work successfully with taxonomy and methodology. And finally, which tool or tool customization and tool integration is required in order to support taxonomy, skill, and methodology. So architecture in a box is a consulting methodology, and our intention is to bring you to success by integrating all those repositories from the strategic conception up to development, up to maintenance of ideas that are translated into a application portfolio. And we call it design management because it's impacting more than architecture only. It's impacting executives, portfolio managers, business analysts, solution architects, enterprise architects, and so on. So today we are going to cover in detail application portfolio management, and that is only one of the so-called value accelerators that we bring with us. And a value accelerator is not a product, but it's a set of best practices in order to provide to you a solution for a specific problem. And the specific problem that we are trying to address here is to create a single unified view of the IT landscape so that your service pipeline is not broken. So we have an integration of different standards that can start from strategy to portfolio and bids book and move forward to the use of Archimate, BPMN, UML, REST API, and then what we have created is a new set of information that represent best practices and can help you out to manage application portfolio management. All of that is supported by a single platform, and that is the key. We have a single platform based on ProCloud Server, Prolaborate, and Enterprise Architect, and this platform will allow you to do everything from the conception up to detect to correct in an integrated fashion. And that is the tool set we are talking about. So we have two fundamental type of users. We have the model producer that uses Sparx Enterprise Architect to produce contents, and they can be architectural contents, but can be also requirements or business processes produced by business analysts. And we have also the ability to integrate this into a repository through the ProCloud Server. And then we have the model consumer that is using Prolaborate as a platform for business intelligence. And inside Prolaborate, we have our value accelerator for application portfolio management. And we are going to see live how that works. But those people are model consumers. They want to take advantage of the work that has been done by the model producer and be able to take decisions on how to rationalize their portfolio. So that is one overview of what you can do with the Sparx Enterprise Architect. So you can create and maintain your application portfolio toolset. You have out-of-the-box support for major industry standards like BizBook, Archimate, BPMN, and so on. You have the capability to trace back from the conception up to the very last level of the running application audit. And another thing that is very important and often is missed in all the solution is not only to have the as is of your portfolio, but also the to be and all the state in between. So if you have a plan for a as is, a transition architecture, and a to be in toggle style, you can maintain all of them, and you can have a vision in time, a time-aware modeling, how things are going to evolve. This is Prolaborate, and that is a screenshot of the dashboard that we are going to see live in a couple of minutes. And as you can see, Prolaborate represents a web-based portfolio intelligence. So it provides you an insight of the data that is inside the repository. Those data are created by a variety of people. They all collaborated together. And now we are using the same data, live data, for take the best of decisions about application portfolio management. So what is that we expect by introducing a system like that? All this data is coming from third parties. So we expect that 75% to 80% of IT budget is spent in operating applications, but 20% of those applications are not used and can be retired. So we need to understand which one we can retire. And if we do so, we can save up to $2 million per enterprise. And by optimizing licensing following Gartner, we can save up to 30% of cost. And in general, also project cost can save up to 10% by adopting a application rationalization approach. And finally, infrastructure costs can be reduced up to 45% by consolidated the vendor. So application portfolio management is an effective way of free capital for reinvestment. But what we are going to present today is not only application portfolio management, but it's a comprehensive approach that addresses a variety of things. So it provides you the ability to understand the big picture because it's connected with the rest of enterprise design value stream. It optimizes cost of operation and maintenance. It enables traceability across the value stream. This is another differentiator, in our opinion, between this solution and other solutions, because application portfolio management is typically based on a lot of data, but you don't have complete traceability with the rest of your enterprise. And with our approach, you have a complete traceability. You have a agile and approach to a changing business environment. And finally, you can also manage technology changes safely and effectively. So this is all, to provide you some context. So let's reach now to the real thing. And as you know, Prolaborate is a web application. So in order to save, our time, I'm trying to optimize here as much as I can. And so we are not going to log in and log out. But one thing that you should keep in mind is as soon as you log in a Prolaborate as web application, you are going to get only the information that you are supposed to see. And that is a very big difference compared to the usage of the standard Sparx Enterprise Architect that, as we explained previously, is for model producer. So a vision that will be for model producer in Sparx Enterprise Architect will be something like that. And you can see that, it's a technical tool that is suited only for certain categories of people. And that is a tool that is made for model consumers. So let's try to go inside the elements of our APM dashboard. There's only one of many dashboards that we have, and here we have tried to consolidate, everything in a single page. So first off, you have to think about the foundation of the APM Value Accelerator is a so-called meta model. So a meta model is a set of extended properties for standard languages. So, and those properties are required in order to calculate things that standard languages are not necessarily covering. So while we are using languages like Archimate and Bitsbook and BPMN, we are adding information like risk, satisfaction, cost, users. And now we can aggregate this information so that we have an overview of that. And that is the first widget that we have here. So we are aggregating the risk of all the applications. And we have an algorithm here calculating that the risk is I. And then we have a calculation of the global satisfaction. And later on, we will see that satisfaction is based on two factors here, the business satisfaction and the IT satisfaction. And currently, satisfaction in our example is medium. Then we have a calculation of all the costs, and we calculate that as high. And here we have a calculation of users, and user is a mix of number of users per number of application per number of functions. So it's a very complex function, and currently the score is very high. So this set of KPIs are calculated, and they are calculated based on the rest of the value that we are going to explore. So the second chart that we are looking at is our investment strategy. And in Prolaborate, we can enlarge each of those. And so we have different strategies. And we see here that, for example, we want to retain 32 applications. We want to replatform 77.1% of our application. We want to rehost 10% of our application. So that is already an overview of things that we intend to do, but the decision has been taken on the factor that we will show later on. We have the ability here to drill in. So if I click on any of those items, I'm going to get an overview of all the applications that we want to retain. Those are the applications that we want to retain. And you can see that we have here all those additional metadata. And this metadata is part of what we call the extended meta model for APM. This APM meta model is not a standard, but we consider to be a template. And the template is used so that you can immediately get value as soon as we engage in a consulting APM Value Accelerator project within the Architecture in a Box engagement. And if in your organization, for example, you say, okay, IT satisfaction is nothing that we calculate between 1 and 100, but we calculate between 1 and 1,000, or instead is a enumeration of very satisfied, satisfied, not satisfied, we can very easily customize the meta model for you so that you always get exactly something that fit your organization. Let's go back to our dashboard. So we have seen the overall score and the investment strategy. Another very important factor to take decision is our ability to aggregate information under business capabilities. You are for sure familiar that more and more business capabilities are used as a kind of high-level ability to visualize information and take decisions. So the example that you're looking at is coming from our Eurocom set of examples. Eurocom is a complete company that we have modeled. So when you see this kind of information, you should think that what is behind the demo is comparable with any major corporation. So we have 1,000 and 1,000 of elements. And in order to provide an overview of that, we have built a capability model, and that is the set of core capabilities for Eurocom. That is a company, a non-existing company that acts in telecom. And we are aggregating cost of applications on capabilities. So you see that, for example, here, that customer support is taking most of the cost, and we are investing very little in asset management or in information technology. And the second cost at Eurocom for application will be HR. So those are calculated values, and they are extracted dynamically from the repository in real time. So another way to take decisions is this so-called time diagram. So a time diagram helps us to organize information in 3 and 4 quadrants. And we have 3 different variables that are evaluated here. So we have here the business satisfaction, and we have in here the IT satisfaction, and the dimension of the bubble is again the cost of a single application. And you can recognize immediately that we have certain things that IT loves, but business don't care. And you can see that, for example, we have Jenkins here. Jenkins is a technical application, and clearly IT believe that Jenkins is super important. And on the other side, we have certain things that are very important for the business, but not necessarily for IT, like version 1.0 of the web portal. The business like it, but IT don't like it. And then we have stuff that everyone agreed that is not really working. On the very bottom, we have here IS400 financial. That is very expensive, no one like it. And clearly it's a candidate for something that we need to retire. And in this quadrant, we have the stuff that we should keep. So you see that this is really providing us a metrics to take decisions that will translate into our investment strategy. And as soon as we have taken those decisions of what we want to do, we need to create an application roadmap. And here we have different applications organized per category. We can focus on certain things. For example, we can focus on custom applications, and we can let everything else disappear. And for example, the telephone interface has been introduced in 2005, and we want to retire it in 2022. And here we have also a milestone that is going to tell us when is that we want to achieve our digital transformation goals. And here we can say what is that we intend to retire, what is that we need to retire, rewrite, refactor, rehost, and so on. So to have an overview of the work that we are trying to do, here we have a number of years before retirement. Each application has a certain time in order to be retired. And for example, we see here that IS400 is going to be retired in 5 years. And the legacy CRM is going to retire next year. Here we have application by category. So we have created different categories of applications. So we know that we have 25 custom applications. We have packaged application only 13. Another interesting and complex query is the one that organizes applications by roles. So we have here the major roles, and we know that, for example, most of the applications are used by customer support. And then also back office is using a substantial amount of applications. And every time that we see such a chart, we can always jump in by clicking on the chart so that we can visualize applications, and we can also take decisions in real time. For example, by changing the allocation of which roles are using which application. And the relationship between role and application is a complex one. So you have to keep in mind that we have two types of meta information. We have information like the application category. That is a simple field that is inside a application, and we simply, manage the category there. But we have also complex information like application by role or the application cost by capabilities. Here is a very complex thing in which we have different levels of capabilities, and those capabilities of the first level are containing capability of second and third level. Those capabilities are attached to several applications that are supporting the capabilities, and each of those applications are different costs. So we pull everything and we display everything as a capability. And that is very different from here, in which we are simply looking at each application and a property of the application. All those charts are dynamic charts, including this one. This is a kind of a nice visualization in which we can see the current maturity level of a capability and which kind of applications are attached to which capability. So for example, we see that customer interacting as a capability as a CIM logical type of application that is attached. And we can also visualize static information. So those are diagrams that are created by architects. And this is a Kanban diagram. A Kanban diagram in EA is something that you can not only display, but also use in enterprise architect to move information around and setting, for example, the satisfaction. And also you see here that we have the investment disposition. Now, one thing that we can do with this kind of diagrams is not only staring at them, but we can also engage our users in having a conversation. So in a Prolaborate diagram, you can always start a discussion. And for example, I could say that I think that we are very happy with the CRM. And I can also tag all the users and so that they know that they are being involved in this conversation. I can insert references to diagram, element, or packages. So that is a very, very engaging way to start a conversation about what is the current status of this information. Another thing that we can do to facilitate insertion of data in the scope of application portfolio management is using here in the repository browser the ability to insert elements in the Excel-like spreadsheet. So if we want to solicitate, for example, from external users data, we can invite them to use for a certain type of application. So the application component is in the specific language, what we are using to manage all those additional properties like IT satisfaction, investment strategy. So if we want to solicitate new data is good enough that our users can either use this kind of Excel-like spreadsheet, or they can directly import into the tool the data, or simply copy paste from Excel into the tool, and then we can add the elements. The same strategy can be used for editing of elements. So if we navigate to a set of applications, we can click on edit and edit those applications in a list like Excel, or in any diagram. We can open each diagram element, and if we are entitled to do so, because in Prolaborate you can give to specific users specific ability to execute on certain things. So for example, we could change the category, the satisfaction, the IT satisfaction, the cost, the investment strategy. All of that could be done on the fly. So for all those capabilities, you need to be authorized. So you may have certain users that are very interested in simply providing you feedback within a conversation. You can have other users that are good in providing you data by using the Excel spreadsheet. And you can have more technical users that will use this kind of interface. And finally, remember that all the data that you're looking at is accessible by using also this kind of interface. So what you look at here, the SAP CRM service, is a application that we have seen also in Prolaborate. You see that the properties are exactly the same. So we have here property like the category, business satisfaction, IT satisfaction, cost, investment strategy. We have also the ability to set dates dynamically like that. And we have a owner of the application, a source. Now again, the set of information that are currently allocated to a certain application component are only a baseline that we use so that we can accelerate the delivery of a APM, depending from what is that each of you as a client has for a landscape. We may need to customize that. So for example, maybe you have some existing sources of information in which business satisfaction is expressed differently, and it's also a decision that is necessary to take during the project. Who is going to be the master of this information? Maybe you have third parties system that need to be only integrated, so they will retain the information or the production of the information, but still in Enterprise Architect you will have a comprehensive view of everything. So EA will be still the tool in which you have all the information. And for example, in EA, as you know, we can determine for a certain element all the diagram in which this element is located. And as you can see, there are lots of diagrams in which this element is located. And here in EA, we can start modifying those diagrams, analyzing those diagrams, providing impact analysis. A similar function exists also in Prolaborate. So for this application component, not only we can look at the discussions, but we can look at usage, and you can see that this application component is present in 3 different diagrams. And we can also look for traceability so that we can do a impact analysis so that we know which kind of elements are connected with all the elements. All of that start to be a little bit more technical, and as I said before, depending from which level of understanding and how deep you are in technology, you may decide to go and use more features, but for everyone is something that they can take advantage of. So finally, we can use also the reviews capabilities of Prolaborate. So here we have a APM review. So what is a review is, for example, if we want to decide with a set of executives what is the current status of a application and how we should decide the investment strategy, we can include those applications into a review, and then we are going to invite different stakeholders. Here, Florian, Jasmine, and Stefan are all executive of Eurocon. So we have created the review for them, and we have included 10 different application components. So, and they are invited to look at each of them, to look at the dashboard, so that they can decide if they want to move forward with certain decisions. And the decision could be like, we want to retire those 10 application components. You remember here, as for under financial, is something that no one is really happy with. So if I participate to a review in Prolaborate, not only I'm going to get some emails, but every time that I log in, I'm going to see the fact that I am invited to participate to the review. And inside the review, I can have different roles. I can be the one that is simply reviewing things for acknowledgement, so being informed in the RACI metrics, or I can be the approver that is responsible, that say yes or no. In this case, for this specific review, I am a moderator, so I am the one that has created the review and is kind of controlling who is participating to the review. As you see right now, this review has been just created. So those people are not yet participating to the review, and maybe it will be a good moment to send them an email and say, hey, we still have those things that you need to review, and reviewing Prolaborate is a very, very fast process that only requires a couple of minutes. So this concludes my presentation. Let's go back and try to describe how we believe that our offering is different from other offering. First off, what we are describing here is not a product. It's a consulting approach based on best practices that we bring in as Sparx Services North America when you have a problem of how we can do application portfolio management within a platform that is frankly less expensive than dedicated solutions, and in our opinion also completely integrated with the rest of your architectural platform. So we come in and we have a so-called meta model with a set of standard properties, and we discuss with you, is that good enough? And if it's okay, then we can immediately start. If not, we discuss which kind of additional properties and relationships you need to have, and we can do that super fast. So, and with all in mind, that in mind, you can see how you can not only optimize the operation maintenance costs, but you can enable your traceability across value streams. This is a major, major win, because everyone in your company is going to be on the same page. Not only people administrating applications, but everyone from the solution architect to the enterprise architect to the executive. And this is how we believe that you can really achieve business agility in a complex and changing business environment. We like to see that today we are in a more and more complex world, and you can decide if you want to be a master of complexity or a victim of complexity. And we like to help you out to be the master of complexity. So that concludes my presentation. Madhav, we have 5 minutes left for some questions.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jeev. That gave a holistic view on how to handle the complexities in APM, and I guess we are getting a lot of comments on those flashy, impressive dashboards. And let's have a quick look at the question. So there is a question from Steve. Do you have a link to where I can find more details on this? I guess he wants to read more on the presentation.
We have a link on Sparx Services North America. That is sparxsystem.us, in which you can look for architecture in a box. And if you or anyone you have more, interest of more information, we can organize a session on that one-to-one session.
Okay, Steve, we have posted the question in the Teams channels as well. Maybe we can post the exact link there. And next question.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay, next question is this beauty, I guess they are the timing was when you were showing the Prolaborate dashboard. So this beauty was created with the model repository on Enterprise Architect and the Prolaborate dashboard. So I mean, I guess they are trying to ask are the dashboards created based on EA model repository but using Prolaborate's dashboard capabilities?
Absolutely, yes. Prolaborate is an amazing and powerful tool, and clearly is some work to create a dashboard like that, but that is why we call it a value accelerator. If you have Prolaborate in-house and EA in-house, you can realize something like that. And even if you are not interested in APM, I strongly suggest you to take advantage, because we believe that Prolaborate is a fantastic platform.
Okay, thank you. And one last question. Okay, there is a additional question which just came up. So there is any kind of dashboard just with EA? Okay, yeah. Okay. I mean, they're asking, is EA the real data source and Prolaborate is showcasing everything on top of it? This is the question from
So
Harry.
EA is the way in which we produce most of the information. We maintain most of the information, yes. So in EA, we create not only the information, but also the meta information. We discussed about the fact that in order to have something like that, you need to have additional data, and this data is created as a language expressed as a Sparx MDG technology. So we have a MDG technology that is extending standard languages to do that, and we use EA to create the technology. Then we use EA for the production of most of this information. However, Prolaborate has some ability not to create information, but to maintain information. And we have seen how you can click on any of those elements, and if you are authorized, you can edit some of the properties.
Okay. Okay, there has been some interesting questions coming up. Maybe we can take this one last. What are the different source systems from which data can be imported for this kind of analysis?
So the current demo is based on completely a EA repository with ProCloud Server clearly on the top of that. In real life, what we do is that we use, to have complex landscapes, and depending from your situation, we are going to either import everything into the repository. If you want to practice one of the principles of enterprise architecture, that is reduction of the complexity of the landscape. So if you have the ability with EA to do everything, you should try to keep the systems number as little as possible. But very often people say, no, I want to maintain the system, and then we are going to integrate that. We have different strategies of integration. One of those is the ability of ProCloud Server to use the so-called integration server. Prolaborate itself has different plugins to integrate with third-party systems. And finally, we have another tool that we use in consulting engagement that is called Model Flow that will allow you to connect with third-party systems.
Okay, so guys, if you have more questions on the answers from Gio or the links, or if you want to have one-on-one discussion or to talk more on APM to the Sparx Services North America team, you can definitely get in touch with them directly in the Microsoft Teams channel. I have even pasted these questions. You can you can even further ask further questions or take it up with them directly there. Okay, thanks a lot, Gio, for the great presentation with perfect statistics and a lot of good content. And thanks a lot, guys, for your time, and have a good day.
Thank you, everyone, and talk to you on Teams.